Hey guys, Ryan here from the Hustle and Grind podcast. We are back with a killer episode. We got Jay Gray from Forest City Auto Glass on the pod today. They're located on Wonderland Road. This is a really cool episode because Jay and I actually go back. We started our corporate career together, and now we're in this entrepreneur journey where he has his business, and I haven't talked to him in a decade, and I'm really excited to have him on. We talk about a lot about collaboration, building a team, working with your spouse as him and his wife run this business, and all kinds of really great things in terms of, you know, understanding from the customer's point of view to also doing little things, small little tweaks in your business that make huge impact and a huge difference, as Jay will explain the things that he's doing in his business to make big impact. You guys are going to love this episode. It is full of all kinds of great information in terms of the hustle and the grind of running a business. Really excited for you guys to see it. Let's get into it. Okay. All right. We got Jay here. Jay, thanks for coming on, buddy.
Oh, my pleasure, buddy. It's exciting.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So this is really exciting for me because unlike a lot of our guests who I've met them in, I don't know, this kind of entrepreneurial life of mine, business ownership and that sort of thing. You and I have history.
Yeah.
Legit history.
We do a lot there. Yeah, for sure. A lot of layers.
A lot of layers.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for our audience to understand that because, you know, as we were talking off mic and getting reacquainted, I mean, we haven't really seen each other for, I guess it's been a good 10 years.
It's been 10 years, but it already feels like yesterday.
Yeah, I know.
And it's weird that way.
It is weird.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for saying that because it, so for our audience, how we met each other was through this industry and this company called Cintas, and it is the uniform industry, linens. People see all the trucks, flipping mats, that sort of thing. And this was really my first corporate job that I had. And quite interesting because it's a space that I didn't even really know existed. You know,
likewise.
Right. So it's this industry that you don't really you don't know it's there until you get into it and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, huge, multi-billion.
Exactly. Yeah. So I come on, and I was telling you this earlier. You were the first person I saw. Didn't meet, but as I was coming in for my first day, I saw you, and you were in this management role, and I was in this kind of frontline role. So essentially, so for the listeners, you basically get handed a truck, and you run a business out of this truck. Yeah, essentially,
most definitely.
Yeah. And that taught me a lot of foundational core values that we talked about. You were one of the first people that I saw, and it was quite interesting because as the frontline guys on the trucks, we were out there kind of grinding and flipping mats and pulling dirty laundry and all this stuff. And as management, you were there to kind of like be the leaders and that sort of thing. And I saw you in the yard where all the trucks were, and you were like, there was this connection between you and the drivers that I thought was quite interesting because in my experience, there was always this hierarchy of management and workers. And I thought that was something special.
Yeah, I think it's unique in a sense. And that's probably one of the biggest influences that has had on me is understanding the importance of that human connection.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So we worked really hard at that at the time, but I was also mentored.
Yeah.
You know, to really understand the importance of people first.
Yeah.
And then over time, I started to better understand it through investing in myself, like The Secret, Ken Blanchard's great book, right? Yeah. And it's all about servant leadership.
Yes.
You know, and the principles of servant leadership. And, you know, not servant leadership as I'm going to do everything for you, but we're going to do this together. We're going to grind in the trenches, and we're going to hold each other at the highest level of accountability for the results. Yeah. Both good or bad, we're in it together. And I think if I could say it like that, that's how it kind of resonates with me. Is just like, your people are your driving force. You're one person. If you can rally around and get those people to rally around you, the horsepower you have behind whatever initiative it is absolutely mind-blowing. And you're right. And I think you made a really good point about, what we did just kind of played out in the background, right? Their floor mats and their uniforms.
Yeah.
But what we did was like, we made it sexy. It was awesome.
It was
right?
awesome.
And we kind of built this brand by which we're like, hey, listen, you know what? Like, remember you joined your first T-ball team or a hockey team or what have you, and you got that jersey, and you put that jersey on, you felt special, you felt part of something, you felt welcome, you felt that whatever culture, or you were part of that existence when you got that uniform. And we did a really good job of sharing that with our frontline team to say, hey, what you do isn't just off in the background somewhere. It has all this physiological impact on how people perform their duties at work by being, so we did a really good job of just like pumping that up. And
I love that, man.
Yeah, I think at front the line teams, like, hey, I'll carry 5 mats on my back and I'll roll them out on the ground for this business. But what I'm really doing is providing a safe, hygienic environment through dust control, through a product that is, backed by a world-class brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a freaking mat, man.
I know. And you're so right. And like, it was a world class brand, but I kind of felt that we made it our own. It was like, we worked for this massive corporation, Fortune 500 company, all that. We were young, full of piss and vinegar. I mean, and we were talking about it too, is that, there was this incentive to just kick ass and grow and be in the trenches. And I think that's why, even seeing someone like yourself after 10 years and we get right back into it, or seeing a lot of the guys that we worked with.
So easy.
It's so easy. It's like there are things we know about each other that no one else knows in terms of like getting into the grind, just like working those hours. And again, we were a lot younger, didn't have kids. We could put in those long hours and grind it out and that sort of thing. But what it really taught me, and really paying attention to leaders like yourself was relationship building. And we lived and died by those relationships with our customers. And for those that don't know, essentially what it would be is we would go in, you would have a route, you'd go in and you would see the customer once a week. You'd flip their mats, you'd whatever, change their uniforms, grab their dirty rags, whatever. But because you're seeing them every week, you have this opportunity to really build that relationship. And that was that aha thing for me with a company like that, working for a company like that, which I even bring now into my entrepreneurship mindset, is nothing happens without a strong relationship. People would buy from me because they trusted me, because I built this relationship. But if I was just going in and flipping mats, being like, here's your invoice, see you later, I wasn't talking to them about their kids or whatever, sitting down with them, they probably, I wouldn't have built that trust. So that was a big thing with this company and with what we built and with your leadership.
Yeah, I think that goes like on the front line and internally with your team, right? Like understanding the importance of those dynamics is that when you find those details, attention to details was a core principal objective of this company. And then, and it was defined as paying attention to detail as if that detail left unattended would result in potentially a lost partner, which is our employees. Or customer. So that being a core fundamental value resonated with me, is that you got to be highly aware of all of the details. And when you start asking questions, you'll certainly find the answers when you say, okay, so what did Belzy do before this? You know what I mean? Like what did Ryan, where did he come from? What was his life experiences? And when you have that heightened sense of awareness, it's easy to connect and build rapport. But if you're not asking the questions, you're not getting the answers. You know what I mean? So
totally.
When you're built that way, I find that, man, just that in itself, like, I think as simple as like, using somebody's name in a conversation, is sometimes in common courtesy, like, thank you. I really appreciate you sharing that with me. And having that ability to communicate openly and just showing somebody that they're really important. I mean, call it a people pleaser, call it what you want. But at the end of the day, I see so much value in building that connection. And then the real work starts.
100%.
Because you're not doing it. You're not doing it from a leadership position. You're not asking somebody to do something. They want to do that for you because they don't want to let you down.
Yeah.
And if you've had anybody in your life, like a relative that you didn't want to let down, then you know exactly what that feels like.
100%.
I'm going to do this because it's the right thing to do, because this person would run through walls for me, or whatever the case may be. And when you build that depth of relationship, it's not like you're trying to crack this code. It's about time. And the more time you spend and the more questions you ask, the more you have the ability to build deeper connections with people. And then you get to that point of what I truly believe, like, leadership is not your position. Leadership is a responsibility. People follow for a reason, and I think, I think ultimately it's like, that's where the work is.
Yeah. Well, and fast forward to now, your wife and yourself own Forest City Auto Glass, and that we'll really get into that.
Sure.
And I think what we're doing right now is we're talking about these foundational values that, and speaking for myself, that working for a big company when I was young, I mean, there was a lot of anxiety. It was hard work. It was a grind. Often I hated it, but we were talking about this. It was so hard. But everything after that, everything I did after that, my career, whatever, even now as a business owner, it's not. I'm not going to say easy, but it's not as hard. Like,
it's not as difficult.
It's not as difficult because you've been through the worst early.
You've been there with a high level of accountability.
Love
right?
That.
And knowing that if it doesn't work out well, there's serious repercussions.
Yeah.
But when you start to play in that environment, taking risks and starting to like jump in the arena when you're so uncomfortable, you start to desensitize yourself to these limiting beliefs.
Oh, I love that.
And that's kind of like what I try to do when it comes to like connecting with people. It's like when somebody says, well, and I jump all over it, I know that's the beginning of something I'm going to tackle to show that person they can be a lot better than what they think they are currently. I look at it like a Ferrari, right? You got a Ferrari, you got this high performance vehicle with a governor on it, right? So it just this little device restricts all the fuel flow and the potential to be that performance vehicle it's designed to be.
I love that.
And then you get this governor on there that's just kind of limiting your ability to see that level of performance. So if you look at people, they all have, through their own experiences way back. Doesn't matter what those experiences are, but if you look at them, categorize them as limiting beliefs, if you start to tackle those by creating an environment by which you say, hey, listen, you're going to do that as much as you don't want to. Like fear, false evidence appearing real.
Oh, come on.
I use that a lot, right?
I love that.
You're fearful of that. No, I'm just uncomfortable. No, you're fearful. That's false evidence appearing real. It's not real. It's
love that.
fake.
Yeah.
It's between the ears. It's fake.
And I mean, as business owners, that is probably one of the most important things to get through, right? Is that I love that, by the way.
Oh.
But that fear of failure, that you kind of just got to push that away and just be like, fuck it. If I'd like this to like fail fast. Be comfortable with failing early and failing fast and understanding what that feels like, and then moving forward and being like, oh, that was it. I mean, we've talked about this. I've had several businesses, many failed, and I look back on, oh shit, yeah, of course it failed, right? But I went through the shit of understanding and feeling that failure and that understanding of defeat and that worst feeling. But no one gives a shit. You just got to move forward, man.
Yeah, you do, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah,
and I think everybody, I've tried a few things in my time.
Yeah.
I had this sales consulting business out of Calgary called Selling Smart.
Oh,
and I
okay,
thought I was going to teach the world how to sell this consultative selling process that I kind of built around all of my experiences.
Okay.
I had one customer.
Right.
And then they quit on me. after I looked at their resume, because they wanted me to work on their resume to kind of like do a few other things totally unsales related, but they were just like, oh, okay, that's it. I'm done. Yeah. High school. It didn't work because people didn't care. The only people that cared are the people that I cared about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they were just like, you should do this. You should sell this to the world.
Yeah.
You know, this is great, because they cared about me and I cared about them.
Yeah.
So they thought it was like this big thing, and all the hard work had already been done. But I made the big mistake of trying to just jump in with the expectation that people are going to care.
Yeah.
Right? People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
you know, that kind of deal?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
So and then connecting in with in making, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but the reality of it all is like, you got to go down.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be like, hey, you got it humbles you.
I was just gonna say that, man. And for a couple guys like us who, you know, man, like everyone's got an ego, and you have this confidence and that sort of thing. It is good to be shut down and have that ego, you know, really shut down and be like, oh shit, I guess I'm not all that, or I guess there are some blind spots that I've got to work on, because I assumed this was going to go great because I'm really, really good at this thing, but something's missing where, okay, maybe, you know, I overshot this, or I just didn't anticipate, you know, how hard that was going to be. But again, these lessons, right? The one thing I've always admired about you too, is, and I'll tell a quick story about this, but is that you have always really understood from the customer's point of view, to an extreme of how they feel. And I want to get into this with you because it's about how you make people feel, not about, you know, what they buy, that sort of thing. They're going to remember how they felt when they dealt with Jay or when they dealt with Ryan. I remember actually being at Cintas in kind of the war room area, and you were talking to another rep about a situation they were having with the customer, and you wanted our rep to go apologize to the customer. I remember this vividly. You probably don't. You don't know what that
I'm not there yet.
about,
No.
But and the rep was like, no, I'm not going to go fucking apologize to the customer. I was right. The customer was wrong. And I remember you saying to that rep, saying, look, you're going to forget about this next week, but if you don't apologize, that customer's not going to forget about this for months and months and months. And whether we're right or wrong doesn't matter. It does matter, obviously. But I mean, dude, go and apologize, give them some free shit, make it right. Because it is about the customer and how they feel. And right now that customer's feeling like shit, even though you're right and they're wrong. You wouldn't remember that, but that resonated with me. And again, this is why you were such a good leader and such a good mentor, because there were things that you did, and I'm sure that you do now in your company, that you just hold yourself accountable, but you also see things from the customer's point of view. And I imagine that's why you're building this successful business now.
Yeah. And I think really it's just an understanding of emotional intelligence, right? Like you've got to be around people and listen actively to people to kind of with a sense of compassion, some empathy, and just try to identify what is this person really going through that's causing maybe this frustration, or what have I done potentially to cause this person to think or believe in a certain way. And I think when you take ownership over, not holding yourself maybe accountable to the world's problems, but, you know, just understanding that, hey, you know, how can I be a better service to this person for them to connect well with me? And then the product and service or what have you will come after. But I think it comes with, you know, listening. How would I feel in this situation? Just kind of like internalizing the dialogue a little bit. Not assuming. Like, it's okay to assume, I should say, but you got to qualify those assumptions, right? Like, this person is probably angry because of this. Okay, how can I qualify that? Well, we just ask some questions, right? And identify, you know, what's the truth to what's going on here? And then at the end of the day, like, take the high road. You know, like, we all have, like you said, we all have these egos. You know, and sometimes it's tough to be humbled and to be humble, but on the backside of that is so much more rewarding.
Yeah.
You know,
no, I love that. I feel like our audience is getting like a mastermind of like, business, just kind of the background, the mindset of, how to really, I guess, connect, how to really make sure that like you say, like active listening, that EQ, having that empathy, these are all things, right, that you need in business.
it's tough. Like, I think business, there's a lot of learned skills in business. You can go to school for business. You can do a lot of things. Your experience is a ton of learnings, but at the end of the day, like something like emotional intelligence is about just like being patient. Like you just have to feel what it feels like to be in that other person's situation and empathize with it.
I love
and
that.
Have a lot of compassion towards that. And I think ultimately it's like, I've always told myself this: it doesn't matter what I do and how I serve my customers. I'm going to be the biggest uniqueness because somebody else out there can replicate my service, my product.
Sure.
But they can't replicate me.
Right.
So how can I be the biggest uniqueness in my business?
Yeah.
How can I make the experience for the customer memorable, not by my product, not by my service, but me?
Yeah.
How can I put myself in a situation by which the customer says, I went to go get this service and I'm glad I did because I met this person, and this person entered into my life, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But what I do today isn't glorious by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
What I did before isn't glorious. It's mats people walk on. I was in the heating and cooling business, right? Nobody's going out Saturday looking to buy a brand new a piece of metal, commonly known as a furnace, for my basement, right? It's a grudge purchase.
Yeah.
How can I? And there's a lot of places out there that'll help provide a level of service and those products. That's no secret. But the difference, the uniqueness is, if you will, is the person that stands behind it, not pushing the brand, but rather who are they as a character? Who are they as a person?
Yeah.
Do they genuinely care about what they're doing? Do they care about me?
Yeah.
And how can I be more memorable in those shitty situations of having to buy something that nobody wants to spend money on?
And oh man, that is so good because and you really touched on something that and what a great segue. So Forest City Auto Glass. There's these businesses that I always become fascinated with. That it's kind of these the like you said, not very glorious. You're grinding, you're changing glass. There's these grudge purchases. People are coming to you. Their windshield's broken.
Yeah,
they're not in
I got a stone chip on the 401. This is
right?
awesome. I get to go get my glass fixed. It's
so you're like,
terrible.
so you're dealing with, you're not selling the latest Nike shoes.
That's right. Yeah.
So it always fascinates me where there's these businesses that exist that people just don't pay attention to. So it's like auto glass. I never would have even thought about getting into that. And I want to talk to you about this.
Yep.
Or these, I don't know, gutter cleaning, like you name it, but you can do so well in these spaces because you can be different than everybody else, which obviously like we'll talk about. But also it's just stuff a lot of people just don't want to do because you think building a business, being an entrepreneur, it's glorious. I'm going golfing every day. I'm hanging out with clients.
Yeah, bullshit.
It's bullshit. Yeah. It's not that, man. Even what I do in the digital marketing space, it's not glorious. It's a grind. We're usually fixing people's shitty websites. We're, making sure that they get traffic or they're discoverable, that sort of thing. So I want to ask you, as your wife and yourself own Forest City Auto Glass. That's another thing I want to talk about. But how did you get into? Because it's been like 10 years, man. That we haven't talked, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, holy shit. This guy, this friend of mine, but this mentor throughout my career now shows up owning this glass.
Yeah,
business.
the shop, right? Glass.
Yeah. Like, how did you talk about that? Like, how you?
Yeah. So the journey, like, it kind of goes back to like, we've had all this experience together. This is a big corporate world, and I think there was always this admiration with somebody who's taken the ultimate risk, you know, and saying, hey, this is my beast. I'm accountable for the good and the bad, and there's no hiding. And that was always of interest to me. So I could always work under this umbrella of great mentorship, good policies and procedures. And it kind of was like that safe box, if you will, for me. And I flourished there.
Yeah.
And then I think ultimately, you know, any company that I had ever worked for, I recognized the fact that I was working for somebody.
Yeah.
You know, and even though I ran it like it was my business, innovative, creative, implemented ideas, those great things, it was very beneficial to somebody else. You know what I mean? In the end.
Yeah,
so I was
totally.
like, how can I bake all of this experience? How can I bake all this energy into something I can call my very own?
Yeah.
You know? And it wasn't like I was hunting per se to run or start my own business. I just kind of fell into it.
Huh.
As life goes, you know, in its journey, kids came along, and I thought, my God, how can I live the life I'm living today, making all of my personal sacrifices to show people they can do a shit ton better than what they're doing today for, a paycheck.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
Yeah.
And I can't do that anymore because, as you know, as a leader yourself, it's a huge time. It takes incredible amount of time to invest in people to build those deep relationships to get that performance.
Yeah.
And kids came along a little bit later in my life, you know, not unexpectedly, but you know what I mean? Like I never thought I had kids in my 20s that have all this energy, but you know, I'm getting up there and the reality is I need to have the ability or flexibility to make time for what's most important, all the while satisfying my own need to feel energized by being productive in a business environment, right? Yeah. So we were, my wife and I, we were in Toronto. We were hustling, you know, doing our thing. The kids came along, and it just like we were caught between we got to perform because we've created this expectation, but we'd have to do it at a cost of time, or figure something out. I don't know. So we said, listen, let's just take all of this skill set that we've acquired, really reflect upon it, embrace the good, and bake it into something that we could do together with our family that we know and feel confident using our skill sets, we could pretty well make it successful.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the tricky part.
Yeah.
Force City just didn't just show up.
Okay.
It was kind of bittersweet. So like you, we've got big visions, right? We're very visionary. We know what we want to accomplish come hell or high water, you know? And a relative of mine owned a staple of London for a lot of years called London Auto Glass.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yep.
And he had passed it on to my brother. And he was owner. And I'm thinking, man, what an opportunity.
Yeah.
I've got kids.
Yeah.
He's got kids.
Yeah.
We've got family. I've got my parents. I got this whole sort of family network surrounding my kids. It's going to be great. I got all the support I can. Folks, I'm going to work with my brother. Hell no. It lasted a week.
There you go.
Yeah, it lasted a week. And so here's the thing, and it's no fault of his by any stretch of the imagination. Me, big mind, big vision, want to go hard, don't care about auto glass. How can I make the experience amazing for my customers? How can I wow them, be memorable? Glass is glass. You can go to any of our competitors. You're going to get glass, probably from the same factory.
Yeah.
The techniques have been around for 100 years.
Yeah.
How can I make this better?
Interesting.
First question I asked my brother was like, man, you've done so well for so many years as sort of second generation of this business.
Yeah.
And, I don't know how you operate today without a website, like how, I don't know pen and paper invoicing. Like, how do we not have some sort of automation, anything?
Interesting.
He said, listen, we've done it this way for now 40 plus years previously.
Yeah. So why change?
Why change?
Yeah.
Why would I implement these things? Hey, we've done this well, and this is the key. We've done this well, we haven't even advertised.
Yeah.
So in his mind, he's done great.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to invest in additional resources to do better.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, and I looked him straight in the eye, and I said, bro, but what if you did advertise?
Yeah.
And then that was the crossroads, because my big brain, big ideas and implementation rattled his world.
Yeah.
He was like, it's good.
Yeah.
I've got a good life, good income, and so be it. But I wasn't just okay. I wanted to use this energy, this power, this experience, and bake it into this business to take it to the next level.
Of course you did.
But you know what it's like pushing a rope, right?
Well,
like it just doesn't go anywhere.
I know, man. And it's no, yeah, like it's a great lesson for even listeners out there to be like, wow, that sounds, I'm going to start a business with my brother or my sister or my dad or whatever. You fucking got to check it early and be like, wait a second, let's look at our personalities. Is this going to fit? Spouses, your wife and yourself.
Yeah.
My wife and I had a business together, as I was talking about. It's like you have to really have these, I call them speed bumps along the way to check in and be like, wait a second, like this is business. Yeah. And are we able to separate, and we were talking about this, have these hard conversations with my brother, with my wife, and then go home and still be, brothers, or still be
Sunday barbecue at my brother's house.
Exactly. Yeah. How's that going to go after you guys just ripped into each other at work, right? Yeah. So I think it's a good lesson in understanding and as a couple of guys that have kind of been through it, to explain to those listening, like, hey, like that might sound really sexy and amazing to start a business with your brother or your wife or whatever, but you need to really understand that the personality, the vision, the goals. Yeah. You guys just had different goals and different visions. He was fine the way it was.
Well, I had goals. He didn't. He didn't have goals. He was happy, and he is a very happy person. Yeah. But when I want to bake in all this, but you're absolutely correct. You got to have that conversation. Yeah. You know, and if you don't have that conversation beforehand, then it goes bad quickly. Yeah. Because what used to be the chocolate bar we were fighting over, now we're fighting over years of business and money. Relationships that can really compromise other relationships within the family. So it gets really tough. I'm not saying don't do it. No, what I'm saying is what you said. Check it first before you decide to jump in. Right?
Yeah. And I mean, I had a business several years back with a really good friend of mine, and great guy even to this day, but we're not really friends anymore because, the business broke down. Our relationship broke down through that. There was finger pointing, all this stuff. As I self-reflect, I've got a lot of responsibility of that relationship and that failed business. Maybe he does too. I don't know, but we're no longer friends, and it sucks, right? It does suck, but it's like business doesn't give a shit. No, and you have to, and the one thing too, and I think you've done a really good job of too with your brand of Forest City Auto Glass, is separate yourself, not infuse the Jay Gray vision and that, but let the brand speak for itself. You're creating a brand. It's not, Jay's Auto Glass.
That's right. Yeah.
And similarly with myself and my marketing business, it's like, I come into this office that we're in here, where my marketing business is, the podcast. It's not me. That's a business. That's a thing separate from me. And I think that's important to understand too, as you get into business, maybe create a business, create a brand, create a business separate from you, because if something were to happen to, you or me or whatever, God forbid, or whatever, allow that separation. Is that something that you work on, or it just seems like you're doing that?
Yeah, I think right out of the gate, that's where we came. It was like we were in the heating and cooling business, my wife and I together, for some time, different companies, some time, and we knew the product and service very well, but we were bored of those conversations. What excited me about, going into business with my wife and speaking for her, probably the same, is that I'm crazy wild about doing crazy wild things, and she's more, okay, it's a process. She's got a great marketing background, and I've got a sales service background, and sometimes I don't even know what background. I'm all over the map, but the reality is she reels me in. She's great at what she does for the business and reminds me every single day that that's her piece of the business. And not that she doesn't want my influence on that. She just doesn't want me to be distracting her from her vision of what her responsibilities are. So very quickly in a year, she grew the business far beyond I would expect through social, through other avenues in which I didn't even think of investing in, right?
Yeah.
And for the first time in my life, I didn't have to be the big leader, if you will, to influence everybody, supercharge everybody. I could literally stick my head under the hood, turn wrenches, and be content. So it was a bit of a break for me.
Nice, interesting.
But still have that urge to be like, okay. So I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
In our business nowadays, it's not like a $200-$300 repair, right? You've got calibration requirements for a long list of what's called ADAS features. These are advanced driver assistance systems.
Oh, okay.
Lane departure warning systems,
Right.
emergency braking, adaptive cruise control. Heck, I just calibrated a vehicle yesterday, a Tesla, and it drove on itself. Yeah, everybody knows this stuff, right? Like there's sensors and cameras and everything else.
Got it.
So when I jumped into this business, I thought to myself, okay, so the average windshield replacement cost has gone up 3 times. And it's not just pulling glass, putting glass in. It's about knowing every year, make, and model and how to calibrate that system effectively as a requirement when a windshield is changed.
Wow.
So you saw this shift in which a lot of the people got out of the business because now you're investing thousands of dollars in calibration equipment.
Right.
There's training involved. There's this whole anxiety around inexperience. How do I calibrate 6 of these 11 different features using this equipment when I've ran my business on pen and paper for 30 years? Right. So it's
I didn't even think about
very
that.
anxiety provoking, right? But we said, hey, listen, okay. So it's twofold. How can we be unique? Right? You can call anybody today and say, how much is it going to be for me to replace it? You're going to say something like $1,200-$1,300. You're going to go, oh my God, I remember 10 years ago, it only cost me $200, right? You're going to freak out and then you're going to say, okay, well, I better call my insurance company. Okay, I pay my $500. Now I've seen up as high as $2,000 deductibles. Right. Because insurance is so expensive. So,
man.
So, let's say you got a $500 deductible, right? Well, your $200-$300 job is no longer, right? Now you're into it for thousands. I've got a $500 deductible. I guess we're going to go the insurance route.
Right.
Comprehensive claim. It all makes sense. And in this industry, we want to go in that direction.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, because $200, what might be out of pocket, $800, insurance is going to pay. Right. So, we're looking at how to make that process easier for our customers by saying, hey, listen, you know what, we'll connect with your insurance company. We'll process the claim on your behalf. And in doing that, you don't have to be bothered because there's still this sort of negative connotation around I got to call the insurance. I got to deal with that. I got to wait. I got to process a claim. My premiums are going to go up. So essentially, we do all the heavy lifting when it comes to that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if that is the objective, to get people to understand that it's not as inexpensive as it once was. Now it's crazy. The technology, the process, the shop time involved in the calibration, the drive time involved in the calibration, everything that goes with it. How can we attract more customers to come to the business to share that story?
Wow.
And then once again, you can go anywhere. That product, that service is available. You can go anywhere for that. But how, using our skill set, who we are as people, how can we offer something unique? And what we've done really well at is sharing with the world that not only are you going to come get a windshield, not only are we going to process your claim, you're going to get that experience. So some examples that we paired up with a auto detailer.
Oh, okay.
Which is awesome.
Nice.
Because if you got to spend $500 on a deductible, you're either just going to give it to the shop, and they're going to collect it. Insurance is going to top up the rest, and that'll be the end of it. Not very memorable, in my opinion.
No.
But what happens if you show up and for your $500 deductible, you get a glass treatment? It's like a ceramic coating. You get a full interior exterior detail. You get recognition. You get a couple gifts, and I don't want to ruin all the surprises. But at the end of the day, you're going to feel like you got something for that deductible, and more importantly, as a testament to what we've done, you look at Google, they don't talk about glass. No. They don't talk about processing insurance claims. They talk about, I walked in there, I knew the guy for 100 years. I came up and I got a full detail. They did some paint correction. They offered me a tint on my vehicle to reduce costs as well. So almost like a vehicle spa versus this grudge purchase. How can I make this be more sexy than going and just getting a damn windshield or stone chip fix.
Man, like I love that because, and it's no surprise, but again, we go back to like, how are you making your customers feel?
Yeah.
Right. And you're really intentionally focused on that. You know, again, it'd be easy for you to be like, yeah, windshield. Yeah. We'll replace it in and out, you know, just push people in and out and whatever. Meanwhile, they're fucking upset. They just had to pay a lot of money for a windshield. That's the last thing I want to spend money on.
I've called 10 people today. What's your best price? I just got to get this fixed.
Yeah. But I mean, that vehicle spa, the fact that you're really taking the time to empathize with the state that they're in of like, this sucks, to be like, okay, how are we going to make this situation the best possible situation and experience for our customers? And you're really doing that, no surprise, but you're really thinking of the details. We talked about details earlier, the small details, the small things, the small levers that you pull and push to make sure that, man, I had to get this thing done because my windshield was chipped. But I got to tell you, man, Jay and his wife and his crew.
Yeah.
I didn't know this experience existed to get a windshield changed.
Yeah, and it's not hard, and it's fully transferable to any business.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
For your listeners, man, if you're going to jump in, find a way.
Yeah.
You know, and I always said this to my teams listen, get really good at knowing what most people won't do, and then do those things. And then for me, it's helped me, and for other people who have embraced that message, they've gone ahead and found unique ways to look beyond the fundamental or core product and service to be memorable.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not, once again, it's not so much about the core product. It doesn't matter. It's fully transferable. Any industry, it doesn't matter what you do. If you can be the biggest uniqueness, you as a human being, no one else can replicate you.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
Same product, same service, with some variants, I'm sure, good, bad, or indifferent. At the end of the day, you cannot be copied.
Yeah.
So how do you work on you to be unique in anything you put your mind on?
Yeah.
And I think we've done a really good, there's a huge gap in the market, right? I'm thinking to myself, this is a shitty purchase, right? You get a broken windshield, it gets vandalized, you get a rock that spreads, and in this weather, we get stress cracks, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to spend $1,200 on a new windshield.
No.
Nobody wants to do it.
No.
It sucks.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, people are making choices by how they see the brand, how they see us as a team, how people are communicating about the work we do. And it has nothing to do with glass.
No.
Has nothing to do with glass.
I love it, man.
And in the world of business, I think that is so powerful. You start to invest more in yourself and how to be unique than trying to be the next best widget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're working on you to
Yeah.
become better for your customers when they just happen to have to do this crummy thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's,
You know?
yeah, I love that, man. I really do. And, you know, you mentioned, you know, I want to ask you about this, you know, collaboration, the power of collab. You kind of mentioned there that, you know, you collabed with an auto detailer. I think that is something that is really overlooked in business because, again, you go to the ego and you're like, I'm the best at this. And you don't really focus on how can I collab with, you know, other businesses that may be in the same industry and they're just doing something better than me, or a business that can really we can function together as this win-win.
It's crazy.
That's a perfect example that you mentioned.
You know what? I'll tell you how it all happened. The detail shop was detailing the cabin of a large truck, like a transport truck, right?
Yeah.
That same customer had said, hey, listen, you don't do glass, but I got a stone chip. Who do you know? They said, we don't know. So we just randomly went online and found us. It was like our second job.
Okay.
So we show up at this detail shop to do stone chip repair.
Huh.
Detailer thinks I own the truck, and he's like taking me through the cabin of the truck. See, we did this, we did that, and everything else. I'm like, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just here to do the stone chip. He's like, oh, you're not the owner? I said, no, I'm the glass guy. right? So a couple years back, you know, he's had so much pride and passion what he was doing, cleaning up a truck, you know, the cabin of a truck, you could imagine, right?
Yeah.
The refrigerator, all that. Anyways, and how thoroughly I was communicating with him, thinking that he was either the owner of the truck or somebody, I don't know, but I'm going through the stone chip process with him and explaining in detail, and he's sensing the passion.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we discovered that none of us have any stake in the game other than, you know, a cleaning job and a stone chip.
No shit.
And then he was like, wait a minute, come into my shop. And then 2 weeks later, I was like, man, you're my boy.
I love that.
Yeah. So
I love
when
that.
people call us, they say, hey, you do auto glass, but you know what? Like, how many door glasses get broken into a year that have to get the glass replaced and then run up the street to get it tinted again, back to aftermarket tint. Now we do it in one house, right? We'll process your insurance claim. And then you get into now the wrapping, the decaling, right? The ceramic coating, all this stuff, man. It's like, it's all under one house. So I offer the services as much as they offer the glass, and it just works. But back to the point, it doesn't matter what it is. If you can find a partner, you know, in something else that you can offer to broaden your product offering with the same vision, I think is really important. Then you got a home run. Yeah,
that's great, man. No, for sure. And I think that's important too, is aligning in the visions of like, I'll give you an example. So so with my digital marketing agency, we're really good at SEO. We're really good at building websites. We're really good at creating ads for clients. What we're not really great at, and my team, I hope my team's okay with this, but is branding. So we have a lot of clients, a lot of businesses come to us saying like, hey, like, we need branding and that sort of. We can do it, but there's others that are better than us in the industry, and I'd be remiss if we do branding campaigns, but there are some I'm just like, I need to drop the ego and connect with my competitor on this because they're just better at this and they're going to do a better job. Now, business wise, it's not the best, you know, maybe it's not the best thing because I'm, you know, obviously I'm giving the competitor, my competitor business, and I'm not making as much revenue and that sort of thing. But at the end of the fucking day, it's about how the customer feels and dropping my ego and being okay with like, they're not going to just leave me.
Yeah, you're on the front line at the end of the day, and it's about who you surround yourself with. I'm going to go to this guy because he's got all the resources in the world, and he's humble enough to know what he's good at, what he's not.
Exactly.
But I think you're paying for those resources, right? He knows somebody who's going to do a far better job, potentially, than what he might. And at the end of the day, he's humble enough to go utilize that for the betterment of my organization. And I think that's noble.
Yeah.
Right? You know,
but it takes a while to get there. It's hard, man. It takes a long time to get there, right? Because you're in business to fucking make money and to grow at any cost. But I mean, the things that you're doing, which I didn't know in terms of collaborating and understanding, you know, how do we make this a better experience for our customers? I think it's great, man.
Yeah, and the economical side is like, hey, listen, they're established as a detailer, right? Yeah. They have their clientele for the vehicles they wrap and ceramic coat, paint protection film, and all that stuff. But they also have a building. Yeah. They have a well-lit shop. Right. It's clean.
Yeah.
It's not my overhead.
That's true.
So we work together, but they've established their brand to a point where we feel comfortable in there and humble enough to say, hey, listen, we share this shop to do the work we do to keep the overhead low so we can give our customers the most value for their dollar.
Love that, man.
Yeah, so when somebody calls and say, hey, listen, you know what? Like, how do you guys do it? You're about 20% cheaper. And I'm not saying we're cheaper. I say we're less expensive overall because economically we invest in the things that are important, and that is the customer experience. I would much rather pay the detailers a few $100 than have to say, hey, I can't afford it because you know, I've got this big old fancy shop.
Exactly.
You know, so we came together and said, hey, listen, like, how can we share? It's uncomfortable at times.
Yeah, of course.
You got cars, you got lots of people, and but at the end of the day, it looks good, it presents well, it's in a great spot. And if we were to jump in the business, we'd have to have our own brick and mortar shop. We would have to have our own mobile unit, fully equipped to do mobile work in spring and summer.
Yeah.
And we just said, listen, it doesn't have to be our shop.
Yeah.
It can just be inexpensive for our customers to get great value and a whole other catalog of items if they want to get their car looked after.
So good.
And it was by chance. It wasn't by design.
No.
It was a stone chip.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
That at a detail. We didn't, excuse me, we didn't even know what we were getting into. So I think by chance, but like once again, if you don't ask the questions, you don't get the answers, right? We wouldn't have... Okay, you're a you're a detailer. I'm a thing. Yeah. But the question was like, hey, listen, like, what would it look like if we kind of like paired up?
Yeah.
And that was the question, and then it became this thing where it's now like this whole like, it's like a paradigm shift of what glass used to be. It was just a glass shop. Now it's this whole thing. Yeah. And there's other opportunities as well that we invested in. And once again, it's not about the business. It's about the customer facing sort of perception and experience for the customer. Is that like, why does everybody have to go get these grudge purchases done Monday through Friday, 9 till 4?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we said, what happens if we were open later and on the weekends? Yeah. Because that's when people do shit.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody wants to go rush. Take a half day off work.
Take work off and
rush to go get
thing done.
Yeah, I gotta get this done. I gotta make arrangements for a ride. I've got to drop my car off. I don't know who's who in the industry. I don't even care. I just need this fixed. It's a pain in my ass. Make it go away.
Yeah.
So when we tell people, hey, we're open 7 days a week as late as 10 o'clock, we'll work on your schedule.
Yeah.
We can have the glass same day, next day. We'll pick up your vehicle.
Yeah.
We'll get it serviced. We'll drop it off home, office, or a friend's house.
That's
Doesn't
amazing,
matter.
man.
Like things like that the industry, and it's not once again about the industry. It's about having the desire and awareness around how can you be unique when your service and product are very similar.
Yeah. Now you guys also have this. I know we're getting tight on time, man. We could fucking talk for hours.
I'm sure we will.
I know, right? Yeah,
this is good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And huge value to our audience, obviously. Listening to you and your experience and that sort of thing. You have this mobile kind of service, right?
Yeah.
Where you go to people. That seems like it's fairly unique too. And again, I'm looking at that going, oh, that's Jay's brain of like, how do I make this as frictionless as possible? And I think, in business, you look at friction, and we're constantly looking at that. And in my businesses is like, how do we make that just, have it less friction, whether it be someone purchasing a product or whatever it is, the entry level, finding us, servicing them on their terms. Is that something that you guys figured out would be unique to you, or something you really wanted to pump in?
So like, I mean, it's not unique to the industry, but I think once again, it's the experience. So we have a nice wrapped branded vehicle, right? Because we have those resources established. So we pop on the road. So people talk about our vehicle all the time. It's like a two-tone green, black, awesome,
I've seen it,
whatever.
It looks amazing.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
So and we roll up in this thing. And the first thing we do in somebody's driveway, spring and summer, right? It's seasonal. We roll up and then we start to wash the car. Really? So we're bringing that shop experience and everything they saw online and why they picked us right to the driveway.
Oh, come on.
A tote of water, a power washer, and a pump.
Yeah.
I put in the back of the vehicle.
Yeah.
We roll up to the driveway, and the first thing we do is start washing the car.
So they've got a broken windshield.
Yeah.
But you're rolling up, and they're just thinking, oh, these guys are going to come. They're going to fix my windshield. I'm going to pay all this money. But you show up, and you're kind of slowing down. This is great, man, by the way, because this is where this makes me think of like how a little bit how when Apple introduced the phone and the packaging, that they were like just so like the experience of opening the phone wasn't just opening the phone and using it. It was like being familiar and having this experience of this product. And I know obviously it's different with you, but you're essentially slowing down the process and making this process a little bit more enjoyable, comfortable. People looking out going like, I didn't pay for my car to be washed.
Yeah, what do you think their neighbors are thinking?
Yeah, no shit.
You got someone showing up washing your car?
Yeah.
And changing your glass?
Yeah.
With lawn signs? This big green truck? right?
Yeah.
So then, and then the customer is like,
Yeah.
yeah, these are my neighbors, and they all come over, and the cards, yeah. But I mean, like,
But that's a smart, like that's something that a lot of people may not think of, but you're thinking of these things of how to infuse these additional, and what's that cost you? A little bit more time.
That was my point, right? So people might be thinking like, oh my God, like, back to my situation with the previous company with my brother. Hey, we don't wash cars. We're not in that business, right? Not to say that they don't. They might do it today. I'm not sure, but I know some that are doing it now because they see it. They're like, how the hell do we keep up with this?
Yeah.
And once again, it's about how do you invest in yourself to be unique in an industry that's saturated with just the product and service, and it's like a race to the bottom on price.
Right.
How can we get you get customers that will call you unexpectedly to get this level of service, and you get customers who do expect it now, right? And so there is a cost associated, but think about this. If you can wash a car in 3 minutes, you literally wash a car. That's it. It's power wash, put on the soap, hand wash it, rinse it off.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to do it.
No.
Right? If you got the right equipment and the right know-how,
it
doesn't take a long time. But what you get in people talking and residual business is crazy.
Yeah, for sure, man.
And just look online. I mean, I think we piled in 200 Google reviews, almost 200 Google reviews in a year.
You did.
And they're all saying the same thing.
Yep.
Great people, good car wash, well-lit shop, awesome. And they don't say a damn thing about the glass.
No.
Because they don't care about the glass. They never did when they called you in the first place. So once again, it's like if it doesn't matter what the business is, and especially for all your listeners, like just work on you.
Yeah.
Find examples by which you can be different, have the courage to take risk, and it doesn't have to cost you a lot.
Yeah.
You don't have to give everybody a $300 a gas card,
right?
To get their business.
Yeah.
You can just wash their car, old school, right? But it's humbling too, right? Here, we're guys that work for multi-billion-dollar companies, and we take it from the bottom all the way to the top. We've seen it all, done it all in these organizations, and now I'm standing on somebody's driveway scrubbing their car mats.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But it's not about me.
No.
It's about them and the customer experience. And I think once again, that comes with a lot of like introspect. Like I'm in business for me, my customer, whatever your goal is, just be mindful of that most people really don't care about what your aspirations are to be and become. Maybe a handful of people, your family. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the general community wants to know what's in it for them.
Yeah.
I picked you because of X, Y, and Z is what I'm going to get, not because you want to be the next best thing. And I think when you wrap your head around that, you start to show up every day with a customer-centric mindset, right? How can I be memorable in this journey of shitty purchase or service or whatever? How can I be and then once again, when you start to dig in, there's a million of inexpensive opportunities for you to blow customers away.
Yeah.
There really is.
Yeah,
and
there are.
People talk in this town, man.
Man, a town like London, fucking right they do.
People talk in this town.
They do. And we had talked about that earlier in terms of like that is such an important part of this is understanding that, you make one, and we're all going to fuck up. We're all going to make wrong moves in business and that sort of thing. A, it's understanding if you did and then making up for that. But B, it's like, understanding that, yeah, man, you're only as good as your last service or whatever.
That's right.
And people will talk and for the good of your business or for the bad of the business. That's just reality, is that people are going to talk shit if they have, not that it might not be your fault. It might be a product deficient. I don't know, whatever. But you're so right, for sure. And in a city like London, for sure.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a really good point is that, no pressure on the entrepreneur, right? You don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere or what was it a conversation I was having about statistically people want to do business with people who make mistakes occasionally and recover well versus companies that are perfect.
Right.
Right? Because it adds the human element.
I'm skeptical of a company that does things perfect all the time.
Like you're perfect all of the like even still like even with us, like we got that 5.0 and 187 reviews on Google. It's like, okay, this almost looks too good. Somebody's got to throw some dirt, you know? And I'm not advocating that. I'm not asking for that. No. What I'm saying is that it just brings a realness to who you are as an organization.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah.
I like a little bit of hey, listen, and we do it, right? We make mistakes. We're working sharp tools, glass on people's cars. It happens, right? Exactly. But the reality is that, you know, it's how you recover. That's what people are watching, right? Yeah. People are looking at how you respond to those situations versus the actual situation.
Yeah.
You know, and once again, it's just like understanding, you know, the importance of why you're in business. Are you in it for yourself, or are you in it to add value for yourself? You know, like I don't know, but it, you know,
lots of different ways into it, lots of different ideas, mindsets, and well, look, man, I know we're getting tight on time. I feel like that was like 2 minutes that just blew through of a friggin' total mastermind.
I feel like we're just getting started.
I know, man. I know. We might have to have you back for part 2, but so Forest City Auto Glass, what is, you guys are on Wonderland.
Yeah.
If everyone knows where the Chick-fil-A is, because we were talking about this, my 14-year-old son is obsessed, so we're there all the time.
Yeah, so are we.
Yeah. And so you're over there on Wonderland. What's next for you guys? The growth, what's up ahead. I mean, obviously you're just you're just grinding, you're servicing each customer like they're your only customer. Give us a little bit of
scaling the business is going to be people, you know, and this is, and my wife and I have this sort of debate every day. It becomes a different business when you bring on talent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I think the leadership skills and acumen really are going to take charge to continue to maintain that level of brand. I think like any business owner, I think you're going to go full tilt.
Yeah.
Right. And I think sometimes the expectation is that everybody you hire is going to do the same. Well, we know that's not the case. Right.
Love that.
So how do we energize and attract people that are going to come with a coachable, positive attitude? Because there's enough people in this business who just cut out glass, put glass in.
Yeah.
Right. So we want somebody who embraces the vision more than the product.
Nice.
Right.
Yep.
So that's the next step. How do we hire help that's going to see the vision and be passionate about the experience beyond the day-to-day, but still be good at the day-to-day?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get it.
So it's like, it goes right back to the beginning of our conversation, right? At Cintas, it was that the huge white-collar responsibility. You're running a business behind the steering wheel of a truck.
Yeah.
Essentially, you're responsible for growth. You're responsible for lost business, gained business, customer satisfaction, all those other KPIs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And still dig at 5 a.m. in the morning in a bin of dirty clothes. Right?
Yeah.
In exchange for new garments.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, how do you wrap your head around that? And that's the type of person that we need to hire. But we're pretty unique.
Yeah, I think so.
It's hard to find. Yeah.
It is, man. And you talk about generational, and there's all these things that, probably a whole other podcast for us to talk about. But it comes down to the people, comes down to aligning the vision. I love how you said, and this is a really something good for people to understand this, who are listening, who are thinking about getting into business. Nobody's going to care as much as you do ever about your business. And that's just the reality. And the quicker you understand that, the quicker you can understand that people are coming on board, not to work as hard as you, but to maybe support you and your vision, or as a good leader, put them into those roles that they're going to succeed the best, which you've always done really well as a leader. And I know, you you just had this knack to understand, like, this person's good at this person's good at that, and putting them in those roles that they're going to succeed. I mean, I use hockey analogies because, you know, me growing up is a grinder in the corners. You know, coach would say, hey, Ryan, you got one fucking goal. Go into that corner and come out with the puck.
Yeah.
If you don't come out with the puck, then you failed.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah,
you didn't do your job, and that was easy for me because they put me in that situation. I was a grinder. I could dig. I didn't mind the physical stuff, and I came out with the puck. You know, 90% of the time or whatever. But it's identifying and understanding that, like, I just love that you said that, man, that like nobody's ever going to work as hard as you, but you can support yourself and surround yourself with those people
with
that will
talent.
support you with
Yeah.
talent.
You know, I said this often. I know we're close on time, but you know, anybody I brought into any organization, developing teams, I've said the same thing. I said, you know what, we appreciate you considering us in your employment process.
Yeah.
But we've got a huge responsibility, and that is, how do we facilitate a vehicle to finance the lifestyle you want to live? You know, so how can we optimize the way you want to experience your lifestyle by doing good work for our business you get rewarded financially for? So it's like, once again, it's like, it's about your team. It's about the team member. Like, how could you figure out every facet of this organization to finance the lifestyle you want for you and your family? And I think if you go that deep without going personal, and you get into some level of goal setting exercise, to be like, hey, you want to go on that vacation with your family, you want to do it, and then, okay, here's how many in the sales world, right? Here's how many deals you have to sell to earn this commission. Here's how many cold calls you got to make in order to get that many details or meetings. How many phone calls you got to make. How many, you know, and then just break it down. So if I do just this one thing today, it'll all add up to me going on the trip. You know what I mean? And it becomes about the experience and not about the money per se, but how do I achieve this goal, being, you know, having this organization that's going to finance my ability to live this way? And how can we break that down to its simplest form so that every day you put 2 feet on the ground, you do just this you go in the corner to get the puck 90% of the time, and everybody else does their job. We're going to win. But you only do that well. And let everybody else do their thing well. And collectively, you're going to win.
Well, I my job was to get the puck to the goal scorer. That goal scorer wasn't going in the corners. He was, he was just a goal scorer. So you get the puck to him. He's doing his job. I'm doing my job. Like you said, everyone's doing their job. And it all comes together, man. But as a leader, you need to understand how to find those people, where to put those people in those situations that they're going to thrive. And that's great leadership. And that's what you are, man. That's what you've always been. So.
Coachable and good attitudes all day long over experience, man. I want somebody who's coachable, and then own the position of a leader to develop that person who's got a good attitude and is coachable. If you're looking for a plug and play, get ready for surprises. It's nice in the moment. But somebody I want to coach, somebody, that's the next step to answer the question. How do you find somebody like that?
Good, man. So forestcityautoglass.com.
.ca.
.ca. Find you on socials. Your wife is an absolute beast on socials. She's killing it. It looks great.
Don't interrupt her while she's doing that.
No, I know. She's here in the other room doing real work while you and I reminisce on the old days. Eh?
Exactly.
But shout out to you guys, and hey, dude, like, this has been an absolute blast for me.
Likewise, to
spend this time with you after all these years. Great to reconnect. I'm sure this, I mean, we got young kids. Maybe we'll get them together and shoot the shit a little bit more while they run around and, kick the shit out of each other. I don't know. We got 2 young boys. It sounds like they're pretty.
Anybody who takes a little pressure off. For sure.
But no, honestly, Jay, thank you for, all you've done for me in my professional career as a mentor, as a friend, as a colleague. Now, we can be, sharing our entrepreneurial journey. And hey, man, I'm just so happy for you and continued success. And I'm sure people all over London are going to start hearing about you.
Thanks
if they haven't already. So
I'm honored to be here with you and your team, and really proud of having a little bit of influence in this outcome. I'm glad you continued to grind for the years.
Thanks,
and
man.
got to where you are today. You're hugely successful. And it's I'm really proud to reconnect.
Thank you. No, and again, it comes with having support of people like you and other people that we've talked about too. Thank you, man. Yeah, that means a lot. And hey, dude, we'll just keep grinding, right?
Yeah.
The hustle and grind. That's why we named this podcast "Hustle and Grind." You just
awesome,
doesn't
buddy.
stop. Right?
Love it.
So, okay, dude. All right, man.
Okay, bro. Thanks so much, buddy.
Yeah. All right.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Another great episode. Thanks for joining us. Please support our podcast. By supporting us, you can go to YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, go to our website, hustleandgrindpod.com. That way you can go and you can apply to be a guest. Listen to us anywhere that you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple, all the channels. But we really appreciate your support. Keep listening. We have a lot of great episodes and a lot of great guests ready to go. We're going to keep coming hard at you here and digging into the hustle and grind of what it takes to be an entrepreneur and a business owner.